because you just kept waiting for things to be perfect, because you just kept overthinking, because you just kept thinking things had to be right for you to take action. And I'm here to tell you absolutely not. Things do not have to be right for you to be able to take action. All right. I know we've all been there. We have been stuck in analysis paralysis, not moving forward, not getting the business that we want because we keep overthinking and we keep backtracking on things that we know we just need to make a clear, concise decision on. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to share with you 5 steps to stop overthinking and to start doing, because this is going to make a huge difference in your business and also your personal life. This makes such a huge difference in your business because you're making more decisions quicker. You're making those decisions and you're taking the action faster. And that does not mean that every time you take the action, you get the outcome that you wanted. But the thing is, you get the outcome that was going to come no matter what. And you got to know that sooner than later so you can move on to the next step. That's what we're looking for. So, 5 steps to stop overthinking and start doing. The first one is recognize the trigger. You know, I can't do a video without talking about a trigger, kind of my thing, right? So, the reason why this is important is because overthinking is often triggered by fear or uncertainty. So, when we're scared, we don't want to make a decision, and we're scared because we're uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. And so that causes a lot of fear within us, and that puts us in a loop. So, you have to stop and ask yourself, what's causing this loop in my mind? What am I trying to protect myself from? Then we can also go into the payoff of this, of what are you gaining from staying in this cycle, staying in this loop? Right? That's the payoff of something you are getting in return. And that's usually a level of security and safety and something that's within that that's keeping you stuck, right? So really recognizing that trigger. What is this trying to show me? So then you're going to identify the thought or the situation that's keeping you stuck. And awareness is that first step towards clarity, when we can actually see what is keeping me stuck. And it's not about if this needs to be the right decision or not, or if this is the right next step or not. It's about, what am I scared of if I just say yes? What is it that's coming up for me? What is that triggering within me? What insecurity is that trying to show me? So you have to be willing to go into that. You have to be willing to step into that and explore it so much deeper than you have before. So you have to identify the trigger and then explore that trigger. Step 2, we want to shift from judgment to curiosity. So overthinking thrives on self-judgment, on perfectionism, and we stay in that. And that's what often keeps us stuck, because then we start to over-criticize ourselves and judge ourselves, and we have a lot of shame, and we stay stuck in these cycles and these loops. And so you have to be able to say, I'm not going to judge myself. I'm going to look at this out of curiosity. How can I see this situation a little bit differently than I have before? How can I provide myself with a little bit of perspective or step back a little bit so I'm not so attached to an outcome? And what would that look like? And so you're looking at it so much more objectively, and you're looking at it out of curiosity. What would this look like if I stepped into it, right? Just get really curious. What's one small action that I can take to explore this? What would that look like if I allowed myself just to stop overthinking and to step fully into this action, right? So one thing that we have to do right here is going to be a real big theme today, is we have to replace that need for the perfect answers with this more curious mindset. How can I get more curious about where I'm going? And how can I stop always trying to make the absolute right next step? Just take a step, right? And as you step, you're going to start to get more clear on where it is you're going. So start with one step, start with that imperfect step. You just have to take the step. And I promise clarity will come along the way, because you are actually taking action and you're having faith and belief in yourself to be able to get there, right? So now with that, we're taking that imperfect step. Now we're going to move into the next thing, and that's number 3, and that is focusing on that one simple step. So overthinking happens when we try to figure everything out. We always want to have that big answer of where it's going and what it's going to look like and what it's going to bring in, and that can get really overwhelming, because one, that can bring in a lot of fear. Our brain can't recognize what that looks like and what that experience is, because we've never experienced it. So then we get stuck in this level of fear, and that's when we get really paralyzed, because we think, well, I'm not even anywhere close to that. How can I even imagine what that success looks like when I feel like I'm just failing right now? So the simple thing here is that you want to just simplify, right? So you just simplify on the next step that I can take. You see the big picture. It's not that we don't know where we're going at all. We have a really loose idea of what this looks like. And then we focus on, what is the step I need to take to move in that direction towards that future that I'm envisioning? Again, it's not the perfect next step. Everything doesn't ride on that one step. right? You don't just get off track from one step. You get off track because you take a step and you keep going in that direction without evaluating if you're on the right path or not. So you have to remind yourself that the one step is not going to cause a complete and total disruption in your business growth. One step is one step, and then you can evaluate and you can do that along the way. And if you're off track, get back on track because you're paying attention, because you're invested, because you're seeing what you're doing, but you're taking that action one step at a time. So we're not trying to create an entire project or create an entire course or even an entire business at one time. We're looking at what we want the desired outcome to be, and we're saying, what's the best thing that I can do right now to get me closer to that? What's the action I can take today that's going to get me closer to that? Then you write down that one idea, you send that email, you reach out to that person, that connection that you need to have, you get on a podcast, you show up on your social media, you create your first YouTube video, whatever it is, right? You take that small action and then you just keep adjusting from there. All right, then we get into number 4. So, in number 4, what we're doing is we're releasing control and accepting what is, which is one of the biggest things that we don't want to do. We think that as a business owner and as an entrepreneur that we absolutely have to hang on to more control, but we don't want to do that, because when we're trying to hold on so tightly to control, we're losing our direction. It's becoming so disconnected that we can't even pivot if we needed to, because we're trying to hold on to something that may not be working. So overthinking is fueled by that illusion that you can control every outcome. And that's where we really get caught up. We think that we can control every outcome because we planned it out perfectly, right? We have all the right steps. And when you stop thinking about having the right step, you can actually just take steps, right? You let go of an outcome and you say, that's what I'm moving towards. This is what I want. This is what I want to bring in my life. And I'm going to take all of that imperfect, messy action. And then I'm going to accept that uncertainty is part of the process. I can't know if this is going to work. I can't know if this is going to be the thing that takes me to the next level. All I know is that I believe in myself enough today to take the next step. I trust that the next step is going to lead me forward. It's going to get me closer to the next thing. Right. And the next thing, and the thing that really does produce all of the things that you're wanting, that comes from action. And we can't do that if we're paralyzed by fear and overthinking. So we have to get into this really big space of just courageous action where we're stepping into that next thing. And we can do that by going into number 5 here, and that's celebrating progress, not perfection. So a lot of times perfectionism is the thing that holds people back on what makes them overthink. I don't want to put myself out there till I look perfect, or until this is perfect, or until all of these different aspects are perfect. But it's not about perfection, right? Progress isn't about big leaps. It's about small, consistent steps. Right? At the end of the day, you have to be able to reflect on what you did, no matter how small, and celebrate that. And when you start to focus on that, and you can look at a day that was kind of messy and it didn't have maybe the exact outcome that you wanted to, and maybe a lot of things went wrong, but you see all the different things that you can celebrate within that. And you say, I showed up today and that's what matters. I took steps forward and that's what matters. I took steps forward and I saw the things that didn't go well. And now I have that in my toolkit so I don't replicate it. So I don't do it again, because I'm evaluating, because I'm moving forward, because I'm taking action and I have momentum and I'm not stopping. So these are just daily conversations that you have to have with yourself, because if you just allow yourself to stay stuck in this cycle of spinning, of not moving forward, of this overthinking, you're just going to stay exactly where you are today next year. The goals that you set at the end of 2024, you're going to have to reset again in 2025, because you did not complete them, because you just kept waiting for things to be perfect, because you just kept overthinking, because you just kept thinking things had to be right for you to take action. And I'm here to tell you, absolutely not. Things do not have to be right for you to be able to take action. So I really challenge you to do that today. I really challenge you to say, what is the action I need to take? How do I stop overthinking? How do I go through these 5 steps? How do I really allow myself to move forward and release all of this control, to see what it's trying to show me, and just to trust yourself a little bit more? And I'd love to hear in the comments what worked for you, what didn't, and what was some messy action you took today.